What's going on? It's Liz. We are here in Alliance, Ohio, and yes, it's a little windy. We are right outside this little museum called the Troll Hole Museum. I found it on Google for something to do, so we're gonna go check it out. Let's go. Go across the street here. Yeah. So we'll see what's up. See what's going on. Welcome to the Troll Hole Museum. Man, it's really windy out today, guys. What does it say here? Daily tours, Tuesday through Saturdays. Come and see the museum. View the world record largest troll doll collection. The second biggest selling toy history. Well, look at that. And it's our lucky day. Today is a Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday. So we are gonna go for a tour, see if we can
Coming out here today, I'm Roy. I'll be your tour guide, and this is just the first of about 14 different themed rooms we're going to see today. Yes, hope you came ready to see some trolls.
Wow,
yeah,
14.
It is. And of course, each room's going to be a little bit different. They might not all be this big.
Okay.
And a couple of the rooms are even hallways. Yeah. But of course, the first thing we want to check out here is we're in the Guinness Book of World Records for the biggest troll doll collection. And of course, this only includes just the unique dolls. There has to be a little bit of something different about each one. So right now, Guinness recognizes about 10,000 of our dolls. Yeah. But this tour today, you might see 40, 50,000 total pieces, duplicates, accessories, maybe items don't necessarily make it into the Guinness number, but still collectible to a lot of people.
Wow.
Yeah. And so of course, this first little display we see here, Cigarets Workshop. Of course, all kinds of customized pieces. You can see people have made all their homemade clothes. People have done this since the beginning of the troll time up until today. Yeah, people like to make their own clothes. You can see all kinds of crochet work and knitting, all kinds of, not just the clothes though. Yeah, sometimes even the troll itself. Yeah, pretty dramatic sometimes. This guy here got some tattoos. Which isn't so common amongst the trolls, but more common amongst people nowadays.
Right.
I mentioned too, like as we go from room to room, you might even notice some non-troll items.
Yes.
Yeah,
Alf, right here.
Alf, Yoda, of course, California Raisins. I don't remember these from back in the day.
I mean, I'm a 90s baby, but
Yeah.
it might be before me.
A little bit. And of course, I think that's a lot of the 80s stuff going on there.
I think Trolls definitely was more 80s, right?
Yeah, but on this tour today, you're going to learn that actually the trolls date way back before that even.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the mythology of this goes all the way back to even 700 AD. Of course, I'll elaborate more on that when we get to the other room, but of course, people like the Vikings. They're going to start telling stories about, not going over a bridge, getting attacked by a troll, simple stuff like that. Yeah. Just the first about 14 rooms we're going to see today. We're going to see a whole variety, all kinds of different themes. And of course, our first display there, the Cigarets Workshop, all kinds of handmade, customized trolls. Kind of catch you guys up. Luckily, you joined in not too far into our tour. This is actually the first room still. Yeah. And we're talking about too, like how there could be some non-troll items in each room. Like Yoda, Alf, California Raisins. And you saw that maternity picture over there, the pregnancy one. Of course, that's based on Demi Moore, the actress. And if you remember Demi Moore back in the 90s, I think she took a picture. I'm not sure if that was Time Magazine or People or Vanity Fair, one of these. I'm not too up on this stuff, but that was a picture she took when she was pregnant. And of course, they had to trollify there. And of course, we should probably mention what's famous today in the troll world and DreamWorks. The DreamWorks movies, they've been coming out since 2016, all the way up until just about less than a year ago. The last movie came out. But this has grown more from into the Rock and Troll Hall of Fame. You can see all kinds of famous musicians built in here. Of course, it's kind of hard to tell which ones to point out. There's so many of them. But we got ZZ Top over there, the famous three-piece rock band, and of course,
Dolly Parton.
Yep, Dolly Parton. That's a good eye right there because that's the country western star, Dolly Parton there. But we're going to talk more about Dolly when we get to the Smoky Mountain Trolls room. Yeah, another whole type of troll. The ones that come from eastern Tennessee. Yeah, we're seeing the ZZ Top there, of course, in front of them, Bob Marley. Yeah, we saw Dolly Parton back there, but we got some other country stars here. Let's see, we've got Taylor Swift back there in the back. And then, of course, even Willie Nelson. Yeah, different types of country, but yeah, they're both country acts. And of course, we did mention California Raisins, of course, some of our non-troll items. I remember my 4th grade teacher had the whole room covered with California Raisins. And that's sort of what comes to mind every time I hear that. Of course, we don't hear much about these anymore, but their big song was I Heard It Through the Grapevine. Of course, grapes. They're originally grapes, now they're raisins, but they're going to grow on a vine there. Of course, the pig there from Sing. That's not even a troll, but yeah, another one of our non-troll items. And even Keith Richards there from the Rolling Stones. Yeah. He looks a little more rough than the rest, but he's going to live to be like 200 years old if you listen to him. If you listen to Facebook, yeah, he's going to live to be 200 years old. I remember seeing a meme that said, make sure you teach your grandkids to leave a nice world for Keith Richards to live in. Yeah. It's a good thing to think about. Even if Keith doesn't live forever, his music probably will, because of course the Rolling Stones, one of the biggest bands of all time. So that's our display there. We hope they keep making DreamWorks movies. Every time they do, more merch becomes available, more people come visit us. Even when the last movie came out, the Today Show came here from NBC.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they came right where you guys are at now. They filmed all around. They interviewed the owner and the owner's dog, Shelly. Yeah, they both got to be on TV. Super cool. But that's because, NBC actually purchased the rights to DreamWorks. If you look it up, you can find this information, but, much like how Disney bought up like Star Wars, and these companies change hands quite a bit, DreamWorks is no exception. So now NBC/Universal actually owns these rights. But they're going to keep putting DreamWorks on everything, because that's the name we all recognize and we all sort of expect to see. Again, anybody has any questions, feel free to throw them out there. We're going to see thousands of trolls in each one of these rooms. Probably troll overload. Of course, some more famous musicians up there. The yellow suit, Rod Stewart. Yeah, in case you have any Rod Stewart fans here today. Of course, songs like Maggie May, Forever Young. Iconic rock band Kiss. Yeah. And of course, we got to showcase some of the new stuff, the DreamWorks. And even all the way at the bottom there, we see the new boy band Brozone. Yeah, of course, that's I guess like a Backstreet Boys NSYNC type band, but made just for that movie there. Yeah. And let's see, can't leave out Justin Timberlake, of course, JT. We got to mention his name because he does the voice of Branch, the little blue-haired guy. And I believe he's also maybe the music supervisor at home. And a lot of these might not even go towards the Guinness number. But still, collectible items, people put their time, their creativity into these things. Yeah, even notice some of the mermaids there, and even some of the two-headed trolls, keep that in mind. You might see that pop up throughout this tour.
Some significance of two-headed trolls?
Just that there's some stores where they grow multiple heads. But the big thing about that is the original head is going to be the thinker. Yeah, the other ones that pop up are just going to be cosmetic. For the most part. Of course, every author, every artist, and every movie maker is going to put their own little twist on trolls. And that's sort of how this topic keeps growing. Every time a new movie comes out, people change things up a little bit, and they kind of base it on maybe how things were. They want to make something a little bit different. And I should probably ask where other countries come here. But of course, just down the street in Canton, one of our biggest tourism hubs around here is going to be the Football Hall of Fame, obviously. Yeah, we get tons of people come here every year. But this is, of course, the smaller version of that based on the Tom Benson Stadium. And if you look super close, you might see your favorite team being represented. Yeah. You guys watch football?
Go Bills.
College, Bills. Yeah. I know we do have some Bills over here. And of course, this started out as just NFL, so most of these are going to be NFL teams. But we've even started putting some college in there. We got Kent State, of course, one of the local colleges. I think they're working on some Ohio State right about now. Ohio State, yeah. Of course, even a local college just down the street, Mount Union. Yeah, just right in town here. And I've heard a lot of people say, and I hope it's true, but yeah, they say they're like the most winningest team of all time. They're in like Division 3 or 4, but just the number of games they played compared to how much they've won. Of course, yeah, we see some even political trolls here. Yeah, you wouldn't think it, but of course, there's been some political trolls over the years, and hopefully Putin there from Russia doesn't see we have his doll. They turn him into a centaur of all things. Of course, based on some of that funny propaganda coming out of him for a while. But the stuff like that, him riding around on a white horse or a white bear, I can't remember exactly what it was. And of course, we sell a couple of those items in our gift shop, and if you can't find them in our gift shop, look on eBay. Yeah, or Amazon. We always encourage people to do your own research if you can't find something here. Of course, Sherry, the owner, Sherry Groom, not just a troll collector, but a troll artist. You can see all kinds of pieces she's worked on there, a lot of woodwork, and of course, all of it's troll inspired. Yeah, some of my favorite stuff, the holiday and seasonal pieces. course, she sells these in the gift shop quite a bit around holidays, and so that's why this is a good first room to get started, and you get to see a little bit of everything.
The Guinness record is just the authentic controllers, or is it
Yeah, it has to be commercially produced pieces, and they have to be a little bit unique from each other. So no duplicates, no accessories, and none of the homemade trolls. Of course, none of the sculptured trolls. Yeah, just the commercial ones, like the ones that come from the... Of course, there's been thousands of companies make commercial pieces. If you don't really think about it, but there's a handful of them that stood the test of time. But thousands of them made these things, and of course, they're all commercially produced at one point. Yeah. Of course, here's a doll based on Sher, our owner, right there, Sherry Groom. She has her own doll with a little blue vest there. And you can see the likeness, I guess, on the wall here. Giant poster right there of Sherry. Alter Ego Cigarette. Of course, and special occasions, dressed up like this character. And, of course, Shelly. You know, one of our favorite dogs around here. Yeah. I don't want to say it's old, but maybe 17 years experience. Yeah. Yep. Alright, so at least we made it through the first room. Now we're heading to the second one. Super cool. Of course, we got the character Bridget there from the DreamWorks series. Also known as Lady Glitter Sparkles. Yeah. And of course, that's another one of our full-size wearable costumes. We saw one at the top of the steps when we first came up, and then, of course, Bridget there, and of course, these two guys. Yeah, these are all full-size wearable costumes. Super cool. But this is where the whole idea of trolls starts. 700 AD with the Vikings. They're going to start telling stories to their kids. They're going to be like, don't go across that bridge, or a troll might get you. Or don't go too far from home, or maybe you get attacked by a couple of these guys. Yeah, so of course, it starts out more like a boogeyman, I guess. You know, because they're going to try to protect their kids just like we do today. Of course, we're probably not using the troll as a boogeyman. You know, who knows? Try that next time you're in a parenting situation. Try threatening a kid with a troll and see what happens. Maybe it helps. Maybe it makes it worse. Who knows? But of course, these were the stories they were talking about. These characters with 4 fingers, 4 toes, a big nose, big ears. Yeah. Of course, you know, a lot of this stuff changes. You know, somebody writes a new book. Somebody makes a new movie. But this is where the whole idea started again. You know, we consider Scandinavia little countries like Norway, Iceland, Finland, Sweden, Denmark. Of course, even within this, you know, the trolls are going to think quite a bit different about the countries, about actually what they feel a troll is. If you actually look at the Norwegian troll, it's going to be like a giant. Sometimes even a sleeping troll makes up a mountain. And then, of course, the little Danish troll is going to be super little, like a leprechaun or a hobbit. And then all the other countries, somewhere in between. So you say the word troll to somebody, you know, you might get a lot of different answers based on where you're from, maybe your age. Maybe somebody will be like, wasn't a troll the guy on the internet that gives you a hard time when your band puts a new song out there and they remind you you're not the Rolling Stones? And of course, the internet troll. And I think that's what a lot of people think of nowadays when they think of the word troll. They probably think of getting trolled on the internet. Of course, we don't really elaborate on that here, but yeah. Of course, yeah, these costumes, they were completely customized, made just for this one location right here by artist David McDowell, one of our favorite artists around here. Of course, you can find his work all over the place, all over Stark County.
Is his work primarily troll?
He's all over the place. He's done a lot of stained glass work. I know he won an award for that. Maybe in Summitville, somewhere around there. But yeah, he's done all kinds of stuff. He does murals. You know, obviously, one of his big things is spray foam insulation. You know, 'cause that's what these are made from. And we're going to see another display where it's primarily made from that as well. Yeah. Of course, all the artists that work here were awesome.
So across the different regions of folklore, are trolls always like scary bad? Or-
Starting out it was, but then as we get into the troll dolls, like we see in the 1950s, the Dam Company starts making the actual playable dolls. And at that point, they're going to make these characters that are a little more positive. The arms are sort of out in the hugging position. You know, these things are supposed to bring you good luck and positivity. I think that's actually around the time that the idea of the trolls changed, was when the actual dolls come out. Because then people actually start playing with them and, you know, having a better time with them. They're not just these stories people are telling to their kids, trying to scare them or whatever. That's a good question, though. Yeah. Of course, I always encourage people, if you ever get a chance to travel one of these countries, you know, beautiful countries. Of course, it's probably harder nowadays to travel than ever, but, you know, just keep an active passport. You never know when an opportunity might arise. Yeah, that's what I used to do before I came to work here. I used to just play music. And of course, we have a whole room dedicated just to DreamWorks. Yeah, so feel free to check it out in here.
Oh my.
Of course, this is what happens when a movie series is pretty successful. They're going to market and license everything.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I should probably point out too, this isn't everything. This is just what we have so far. There's still tons of items out there that we're still looking for. Of course, we're always on Amazon, eBay. You can stop at yard sales. Not necessarily for the new stuff, but you can find some of the old dolls at yard sales. And maybe you find a painting for $20, it turns out to be worth $20 million. Who knows? You hear about this stuff in the news sometimes. Chia Pet heads, they still make those even. Yeah, that's pretty classic. We're looking 80s back then. And of course, when you want to market your brand, a good place to put it is on food. Yeah, like things like the macaroni and cheese there, the veggie straws, Jello, troll hair on. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but that definitely catches people's attention though. I guess I'm just not sold on the whole 3-in-1s idea. You know, they're going to put all this stuff together. I saw a picture online. I don't know if it was even true or not, but it said 8-in-1s. I don't know what the other 5 items would be. Yeah, toothpaste, maybe a little mouthwash, maybe some hairspray. Like, I don't know if it's a good combination or not. Yeah, but even when NBC came here, they spent a lot of time filming in this room because, of course, this is what they're all about today, like the DreamWorks stuff and NBC stuff. We hope they keep putting movies out. Every time a new movie comes out, more merch becomes available, more people come visit us. Because it brings the kids in sometimes, but then the adults have to come with them. Or then the adults are like, well, I remember these dolls when I was a kid in the 70s or 80s. I'm going to look them up on eBay, and the cycle continues on. Of course, now we're going to go from the most colorful room to one of the darker rooms today. And we show a little troll contrast here. Of course, the Troll Hunter cabin. This is all based on this movie here, The Troll Hunter. Originally was released in 2010 in Norway. I don't know if anybody knows more about the Norwegian language. Maybe Troll Kjørgen, maybe. It's one thing I wish I would learn is some foreign languages, but you travel around the world. A lot of times you come across tons of people that speak English. Like, everybody wants a chance to practice, so never got the chance to learn. Yeah, because that's going to be, hopefully that's a direct translation. You never really know though, because sometimes there's the direct translation, then there's the slang translation. Could be different, could be the same. Of course, a key takeaway from this room, cryptozoology. You have the study of supernatural. Of course, not just trolls, this could also include things like aliens, or Bigfoot, or Chupacabra, Mothman. If anyone's ever heard of the Mothman story. That actually originates not far from here in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Of course, you can look up Mothman documentaries. There's even a movie with Richard Gere, The Mothman Prophecies. And because we get a lot of people coming here being like, well, do you guys have Mothman stuff? And of course, we do sell a couple Mothman characters. Yeah. Of course, you have even some night vision goggles there in the corner. Because actually, most stories involving trolls actually portray them as being nocturnal. Almost think more like a raccoon. You're typically going to see them at night, maybe sometimes during the day, but except for the DreamWorks stuff, that's kind of a league of its own. Like these, those are like more like real people just up and moving around. So, of course, if you ever get a chance, check out this movie, The Troll Hunter. And it was originally in Norwegian, but you can find a really good English dub. And it was actually a really good version. And of course, keep in mind how the Norwegian folks, they love their giant trolls. Yeah, it's that giant troll there with that little truck below it. I don't want to give too much away about the movie, but in this case, the trolls are actually the bad guys. Yeah. Actually, if you want to, yeah, that'll be awesome. I usually go back and close them, but yeah, that definitely helps out. I appreciate that. Yeah, of course, yeah, if you look at this mountain here, and this is done by the same artist that did those costumes out in the hallway with the spray foam stuff. So if you look super close, there's 50 or 60 troll faces built all over the rocks and the trees. Yeah. It's kind of crazy. Once you start looking, more of these faces start popping out. And of course, the rock parts, they're created from the spray foam insulation type material. The trees are actually real wood, though. So he's done a nice little combination of, fake rocks, real trees. Another creation by David McDowell, incredible artist. He's also the fellow that actually drew that poster to our right. And those are just going to be a whole bunch of cryptozoology characters. Not necessarily trolls, but other things like, Mothman and elves, fairies, you name it. Zombies. Even the Sphinx. Yeah. Even some of those characters I'm still doing research on, because some of those I wasn't even that familiar with, honestly, when I first came to work here. And then, of course, the trolls behind us, these are the Smoky Mountain trolls. Just like the name suggests, these are going to be the ones that come from eastern Tennessee, the Smoky Mountain National Park. I guess these are the ones you can call like folk art pieces. These are the ones that are meant to go up onto the shelf, just sort of meant to be up there and enjoy, not really meant to play with. Still super cool pieces, of course, made by the Aaronsback family, starting in the late 1940s. Of course, now I think they're your kids and grandkids that are keeping the whole company going. And of course, you can find their website at trolls.com. They got the coolest website. I wish we had that website, trolls.com. Like, it's pretty easy to promote something like that. Of course, this company was around when the internet was booming. So they were probably smart enough to be like, well, let's grab this domain name. And even some girl got the domain name of Backstreet Boys originally. And the only payment she wanted was the band to come to her house and just say hello and maybe sing her a song a cappella or something. I probably would have asked for $1 million. Who knows? Of course, we can see all kinds of nature. There's like black walnuts, acorns, pine cones. They're holding items like fishing rods or clubs or moonshining setup in that guy's case down there. Of course, Tennessee, huge history during the Prohibition era of the United States. They're going to keep making whiskey, and they're going to make their cars faster and faster, and this leads to NASCAR of all things. Thomas Dom's story, one of the early creators of the plastic troll doll. Of course, his name Dom, 2 M's. He's going to drop one of these M's, and that's going to create the legendary Dam Company, or Dom. It's pronounced both ways. And of course, if you ever come across one of these dolls and you're like, well, what company makes this? How do I know what's going on here? Check out one of the feet. That's a great place to look. You might see the company name. You might see a year, even. Yep, and someone's got to get a right angle, and someone's got to take a picture of it and contrast it sometimes. But of course, Damn Things. That was one of the marketing companies from the Damn Company, 1964. And the clothes in this were made by Sherry Groom, the owner. And she knitted that clothes there. And again, feel free to take tons of pictures. Of course, now we're in the Economic Impact Room. One of our favorite rooms. We're looking at stuff here from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s even. There's even some people considering stuff in the 90s to be vintage already. That's kind of crazy. Of course, 1999 was 25 years ago. Of course, the Gemstone one, the Treasure Troll, comes out in 1992. That was a huge year for trolls. Of course, that's going to lead to all kinds of movies, TV shows. There was even the pencil top version of that, plus all the other sizes, even the plush dolls. But it's a treasure troll if you ever see the gemstone built in the front. And it's supposed to bring you good luck. Maybe people take them to buy lottery tickets, take them to bingo night. Maybe take them to the Browns game. Well, only because the Browns need it sometimes. Of course, around here we get a lot of Browns fans, a lot of Steelers fans. And of course, there was even some marketing campaigns to bring more boys in as customers, like the Battle Trolls, Troll Force. Those are the characters there that have machine guns, knives, throwing grenades, things like swords.
I think they got the idea for Thanos from that guy.
Mm-hmm. Of course, these are coming out at the same time the Terminator movies are still really big. And people like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone are still really big actors. Yep, you can make your own troll-shaped cake with that dish there. Of course, the hard part's not the cake. The hard part's going to be getting the icing on there and making it look like a troll. Of course, I tried to make one of these one time, and my friend's like, well, you should sign up on a show called Nailed It. And I was like, awesome. I was thinking, this girl was giving me some inspiration and motivation, but it turns out that's a show you go on if you don't know what you're doing with cooking. And I did sign up on it, and I never called, though. And when the whole COVID thing kicked off, I sort of got on this whole, I guess, a cooking binge thing, or not cooking, but actually cooking show binge. Just watching people cook, like the Great British Baking Show. Well, of course, we got some pencil toppers down there. I don't know if you remember these. Back in the day, people spinning these things. Yeah, book fair. That's pretty huge, like in junior high, high school, stuff like that. Of course, almost every major company that was successful made a pencil topper. Those erasers never work right anyway, so you must put something over them.
Not at all.
And of course, some of these items here, maybe you could say these are obsolete nowadays. things like CDs, cassette tapes, Walkmans, and then all stuff that was super cool back in the day. But of course now, kids are like, well, what is this stuff? Because now, of course, now we have smartphones. Everything's built into it. You don't have to have all these external devices.
Google right at your fingertips.
Remember when I was a little kid, like the real cool kids had their full-size boombox on the shoulder, and they're walking around. Of course, that went out of style about as quick as it went in.